Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Gross and this is Steve G Fishing. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 keys on how to catch bass in cold weather. So we're going to go for the first key. The first key is you want to make sure that when the steam is coming up off the water, you want to fish the windiest side, this side right here, where the wind is blowing all the steam over here to where this bank line is. This area here is going to be more productive because when the wind blows the steam over there, it's going to heat this area of the water up. And this area of the water will become the warmest. So you always want to fish where the steam is blowing across when the wind is hitting the bank line. This area here will be the warmest part of the lake or the river or wherever you're at. That's key number 1. Key number 2. Key number 2 is you want to make sure during cold weather that you fish your drop-offs. See, for like 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet. You want to find the comfort zone. You want to stay within 60 to 65 or 60 to 58 degree temperature. But you want to find that comfort zone in there when fishing. That area there is where the bait fish and the bigger fish are going to be stationary. So remember, you want to hit your drop-offs, whether you're fishing lures or crankbaits. You want to find that drop-off comfort zone, whether it's 20, 30, or 40 feet. But you want to look for 60 to 65 or 60 to 58 degree temperatures. That's second key. Your third key when fishing for bass is you want to try to fish the plant life. The plant life is going to throw heat off. The hydrilla is another good plant life. So whenever you're fishing your crankbaits or your worms, you want to throw it in the areas where the plant life is, because the plant life is going to throw more heat off versus if you're fishing the open areas where you're just fishing the sandy bottom. So remember, the plant life, whether it's eelgrass or hydrilla, fish the plant life because the plant life is going to hold heat and the fish are going to be in their comfort zone. So fish the plant life. That's your third key. Your fourth key is you always want to fish the east side of the lake or the river you're at. The reason why is the sun comes up from the east and sets from the west. So the sun is shooting down the rays with all that warm air. And this side, the east side, is going to be the warm side. It's going to keep that water warm and keep those fish more active. So remember, fish the east side. Remember, the sun comes up at the east and sets at the west. So once that sun gets up, it's shooting all that heat over here going down, because in the morning it's usually colder, and in the afternoons it's going to get cold, but the sun is throwing all that heat down in this area here. So remember, you want to fish the east side when fishing for bass. Now your fifth key while fishing for bass is 1, you want to work your worm very slow on the bottom through the plants. The reason is the bass are very sluggish. They're not as active in the winter time, so they don't move as much, and they try to stay stationary. So remember, work your worms very slow on the bottom or through the plants. Number 2, you want to work your crankbaits slow on the bottom or on drop-offs. The bass aren't going to be active. They're not going to want to jump out flashy fast. Their momentum is going to be slow because the cold weather is going to slow the metabolism down, and the movement of the fish are going to be very slow, to where the bass aren't going to want to move as quickly as they would if it was warm water. Third one is bass eat less in the winter and move less when cold. So put the baits closer to the fish. You want to try to get those baits as close as you can to the fish. That way that fish doesn't have to work hard. Remember, it's cold outside and that bass is sitting and he doesn't want to move too much. So you want to try to get that bait as close to the fish as you can. Fourth one, you want to fish deep water and find that 65 to 58 mark. Remember, when it's cold out, the fish don't want to hit shallow. They're going to be somewhere in that deep area where they're in their comfort zone. In the wintertime, you want to fish deep water. Now, you can fish shallow water in the 10-foot mark or the 5-foot mark if there's plant life. I've done a lot of fishing, and I've fished when the plant life is growing on the bottom, whether it's deep or shallow. If you keep those lures or those worms in that plant life is throwing off heat, and those fish will bite in where it's the warmest. 5, you want to try to fish when your barometer pressure is low. Now, people ask me, they say, well, he says, how do you know whether the barometer pressure is high or low? Now, what you can do is you can get a jelly jar, empty it out, then fill it up with water. You're going to fill it all the way up to the top here with water. You're going to take an empty Coke bottle. If you don't have a Coke bottle, get you a beer bottle, but make sure it's clear so you can see through it. And you're going to take that bottle, you're going to flip it upside down. This part of the bottle is going to go inside of the jar, and you're going to let it sit there for 3 days. And for 3 days, this bottle here is going to gather moisture. And then when it gets cold out, you're going to see the water rise. And when it gets warm out, the water's going to start going down. When you see the water start going down, that's your best fishing time. When the cold weather starts hitting, you'll see that water to rise, and then your fishing will go downhill from there. So remember, the barometric pressure, you want to make sure that you try to fish the barometric pressure when it is low. Very important. Those are my 5 keys for you. Get out there, catch some fish. If you ever get a chance, take a kid fishing with you. They are our future. Merry Christmas. I haven't been doing too many videos. I've been out deer hunting a lot. I will get back into it in January, February. You will see me more in 2025. Other than that, God bless. Get out there and catch some fish and have a happy holiday.